Good afternoon and welcome to the Grand Rapids Community College Board of Trustees meeting Monday, May 18, 2020. Once again, we are meeting virtually. We'll do our best to invite the same community interaction you've become accustomed to at our live meetings. We realize a live stream with a chat function isn't the same as being in the same room together. But we want you to feel the same freedom to engage with us that we have all become accustomed to. So just wonder if you, Dr. Pink, have anyone that you want to welcome and introduce, any guest at this time?
I do not at this point, Chairperson Cucci.
So then our first order of business would be the approval of the agenda. Trustees note this is the time to move any item off our consent agenda for further consideration if you would like to do that. Are there additions that one wants to suggest to today's agenda? Hearing none, a motion please to approve today's agenda.
So moved.
Support?
Support.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, that same sign. That motion carries. Now, as our custom, we open the meeting for public comment. For those of you in our YouTube audience, you can see us, but we can't see you. If there is anyone out there, however, that would like to address the board regarding any item on today's agenda, you can do so by using your chat function on your screen. We all realize this isn't as smooth or as easy as simply coming to the front of the room and identifying yourself and limiting your comments to 3 minutes. But if you are inclined to comment, please identify yourself, then briefly state your question or your comment. And just be reminded that there will be a second opportunity for public comment on any matter at the conclusion of this meeting. And also please note that the board will likely not react to your comments at this time. I'm going to wait just briefly, should any comments come in, and if not, we will move on with our agenda. Not seeing anything coming forward, I'm going to invite Lisa Freiberger to the virtual podium. We have a job training agreement with Spin Dance Incorporated that we've been invited to approve. Lisa.
Thank you and good afternoon. Before you have the resolution, looking for approval to enter into a new Michigan New Jobs Training Program agreement with Spin Dance. Spin Dance is a company out of Holland that builds and manages software. The total agreement is in the amount of $235,175, which is primarily training and some supporting materials for them. They have approximately 35 current employees and are looking to bring on 21 new employees over the next several years. Remember, with the Michigan New Jobs Training Program, this $235,000, the training is specifically designated for the new employees. It is a 5-year program and thus a 5-year payback period using the payroll tax withholding, which will be diverted to cover the cost of the training. Again, a 5-year payback program, $235,000. We would look for your support of the resolution, which allows us to enter into the actual new jobs training agreement and issue the related revenue bonds. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Lisa, this is Kathy Crosby. How many of these agreements do we have now?
We have, I believe, 14, although we are in the process of closing a couple of them, so I'm not positive that that is the current active number.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? The resolution was in our packet. The exact wording of that resolution is in our packet. I'll accept a motion to approve that resolution as it is recorded in our packet.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there support for that?
Support.
Thank you. Further comment or question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed, same sign. That motion also carries. Lisa, I'm going to go right back to you. A financial update.
Yes, thank you. And I do have a couple updates for you. First, the financial statements and the investment report was included in your board packet. Do not have any specific things to identify and share with you, although would be happy to answer any questions that you might have about those. I would like to share an update on the 2020-21 budget process and additional information as we continue to watch what I believe is an unprecedented budget development process. Most specifically, the state had the state traditional May revenue estimating conference on Friday, the 15th, and have come out with updated total state revenue projections for both the 1920 year, the fiscal year we're in now, as well as the 2021 year. For the 1920 year, they have reduced total state revenue projections by approximately $3.2 billion from the January revenue consensus. That represents a 12% decline in total revenue, both general fund and state aid, from last year or 18-19 totals. We will certainly, as we talked when we went through the budget work session a couple weeks ago, have, because of that significant revenue decline, some level of executive order cut in 1920. We don't know what that is yet. The state will begin to work on that now from the legislative and governor's offices process. And hopefully we will hear something about the magnitude of that cut in the coming weeks. Again, we do not have it now, but would anticipate that. Are still with that anticipating a positive June 30, 20 close, but are certainly very concerned about what that executive order is going to look like. Into 2021, which is the year that we're building the budget for, they have projected an additional or $3 billion drop. So revenue projections for 2021 over the general fund and school aid are $3 billion down from the January revenue projection conference and process. So 3.2 in 1920, another 3 billion in 2021. So again, clearly some significant revenue loss. Based on that and additional input that we're hearing around what the 2021 budget looks like, we will go back and revise those state projections that we have originally incorporated into the budget that we shared with you a couple weeks ago. If you'll remember, we had built in a 5% state aid decline. At this point in time, it most likely will be higher than that. We will also most likely not have final state projections or state revenue numbers to incorporate by the time we need to bring you a balanced budget. So at this point in time, we are recommending that we increase that state aid revenue loss for next year from 5% to 15%. As we talked a couple weeks ago, we have plans to figure that out. We've got a plan to bring you a balanced budget. I think the question we would have is whether you would like an additional, as a board, an additional budget work session, budget conversation, or whether you would like us to bring that to you as part of the June board meeting.
And as we mentioned during our budget work session, trustees, that for us is not a problem at all, because this whole thing remains so fluid, unprecedented. We have all types of description words for this one. It remains as such that we know that the closer we get to June 15th of when we want to present you budget, we know that we'll probably see some movement I don't believe that by June 15th, will we have a solid from the state in terms of what that looks like? I would say probably not. I think as Lisa mentioned, but we are more than willing. I have no problem if you would like, at your pleasure, that we can schedule another face-to-face like this via a virtual face-to-face, if you will, to give you close to June 15th, to give you where we are by then, so that you have a good vision and handle on what we will in turn present to you as a final proposal of a budget on the 15th. So please know, we're more than happy to get something else to give you more information between now and then.
That
So,
would,
Go
very
ahead,
helpful.
Kathy.
that would be, I would really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll definitely work with Misty and to work with Chairperson Cucci and with the rest of your schedules to get us something between now and then. I think I'm happy, actually, Trustee Brunsma, I'm happy to hear you say it, because I honestly don't believe that I would feel that comfortable waiting a month to give you, and the next conversation that we have with you would be a final budget proposal without us being able to give you the latest information, because the latest information tends to change on us fairly rapidly. So I'm really pleased that that would be the pleasure of the board.
Thank you.
Lisa, I want to make sure I understood what you said. So current projections are for a 12% decrease in state revenue for the current fiscal year. And then
Correct. And that is, the percentages become a little muddy. That 12% is the total state projection now for this fiscal year compared to the total actual revenue for the state last year. So their total revenue picture now, they're projecting to be 12% down from
Okay.
the year actual.
And their projection of a reduction of 3 billion for next year is a reduction from what we were projecting in January, or that's an additional 3
No,
billion?
that is a reduction from what they were projecting in January. Great clarification.
Okay.
If you look January to January, because January is the last time they got together, they at the state level and projected total revenue. So back in January, they projected this year to be 24.9 billion. And they are now at 21.7 billion for this year.
Okay.
Next year, for 2021, when they looked at it in January, they projected it to be 25.5 billion. And now they are looking at 2021 to be 22.5 billion, down $3 billion. But it's not down 6.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. So, the worst case scenarios that are buzzing around that it could be as high as 25% might reasonable worst case scenarios.
Yes, because they will have to look at, they have to, my understanding is by law, balance 2020 and then present balanced for 2021. So they'll have to fix this year and the significant funding concern they have now. And it won't be as easy as, because there are many components of the state budget that can't just be adjusted without some significant consequence. Yes, I believe that the 20 to 25, which we've heard talked about as well, is probably a worst case scenario, probably higher than it will wind up being. However, even at the state level, they are very clear that this is unprecedented projecting for them as well. So the numbers are very fluid at the state level as well.
And
These numbers will continue to evolve. I have certainly heard that the state may even have another revenue consensus conference in August when they have more information, which would be very different for them, but certainly potentially warranted because those numbers are changing drastically daily.
to that point, it's it's really to what we've heard everything from worst case scenario being 2025. We've also heard to make plan for a minimum of 10, talking about FY21. And so we feel pretty good right now about setting that number at 15. By the time that we get us something else scheduled with the board, we'll give you an update on what we hear by then. But in the conversations that I have been in, that I know Lisa has been a part of, it's to say a moving target would probably be an understatement, and understandably so, though. Understandably so.
Right.
And we do have, I mean, we've been modeling all of those scenarios in a variety of ways. So we are able to adjust and have that data worked through. It's a matter of finalizing what right now looks like 15, and continuing to watch what the state provides in the next few weeks.
Well,
Lisa,
and you guys know better than we do. The other variable out there is projected enrollment.
Correct.
And so when we do get together, I think it's valuable as we develop scenarios, not only doing whatever educated guesswork we can on where the state's going to land, also whatever guesswork we can have on what we think projected fall enrollment is going to look like.
And summer enrollment, on a couple positive notes, summer enrollment has come back fairly strong.
Good.
We still will see some additional changes in our second summer because we've got a summer 1 and summer 2. So we're looking at a less than 2% off for summer enrollment from our projections, and a much less significant revenue impact than had originally anticipated based on data even a couple, 3 weeks ago. We
Lisa,
received an additional personal property tax replacement revenue reimbursement, which was fairly significantly higher. That came in last week than we had originally budgeted. So that will help us as we work to close as well.
Here.
Lisa, have you seen how all of this is going to affect tuition?
We are not at this point in time anticipating bringing you any tuition changes other than what you've already approved. We will work to fix this in a different way.
Oh, good.
All right, any other questions for Lisa? All right, hang in there, sleep well at night. We need you as sharp as you possibly can be during the day, so.
We will be fine. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Lisa. We're going to move on our agenda then to updates and reports, and we're happy that Kathy Mullins is with us this afternoon, and I'm going to turn the mic over to you, Kathy.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to present you with the following update from the foundation. I am happy to report that for the 2019-20 academic year, we were able to disperse $1,127,288 in scholarships to 931 students. Just to put this number in perspective for you all, when I reported to the board in spring of 2016, we had dispersed $617,552 to 572 students. I want to acknowledge these numbers because I also want to acknowledge the hard work of the foundation and the financial aid teams. I'm very proud of the work that both teams do together on a daily basis to ensure that we can award as many scholarship dollars as we can to as many students as we can. And I also want to take a minute just to thank all of our donors for their commitment to the success of our students, because in 4 short years, we've been able to do quite a bit because of that commitment and support. And I'm very thankful for that. Given our current economic environment with the COVID-19 pandemic, we have opted to change our scholarship recipient workshop format for this upcoming academic year, for the fall particularly. We've opted to hold those workshops virtually, and they will not be mandatory this year. Instead, we will promote these workshops as being highly recommended, and we will look at a concierge approach to the work that we do in the foundation. So our plan is to provide the workshops virtually and to make individual phone calls to the scholarship recipients. And these phone calls will be made to students to ensure that they accept their scholarship award, that they've registered for fall classes, and we can help them get any answers to any of the questions they might have with regards to enrolling. But also, as we reach out to these students, we can find out for sure if they are planning to attend GRCC or if they had some other plans for fall. And if they do have some other plans, then we can instantly re-award those dollars to another student. So, yeah.
Are we concerned about it being mandatory because of access to computers, etc.? Or so describe the reason for making it highly recommended versus mandatory as it has been in the past.
Yep. So what we are finding from our students is that they are having moved to online and just having some conversations with students because we are making phone calls. Students are a bit overwhelmed right now, and we're really not looking to add to that. We want to make sure that they are comfortable. So what we have found, though, is that students are registering for these. We have 6 of them scheduled for this summer. And so it's not that they aren't registering for those workshops, they are. But what we also know is that there are some students who just don't have access. And I don't want to withhold scholarship funds because with the mandatory process, students' scholarship funds, their dollars aren't placed to their account until they've completed. So right now, to help also in hopes of helping with fall enrollment, is then there wouldn't be a hold on their account on those scholarship funds, so students could see.
Makes sense. I understand. Thank you.
Kind of twofold, yeah. So through this concierge approach, we're hoping that for those students who aren't planning to attend for sure, we can re-award. And we're also, with the phone calls, we know and we've heard and we've all read about the fact that the high school senior class are a little disappointed that they didn't get to celebrate, or this academic milestone graduating from high school isn't something that people have really made a big deal about. But so what we are able to do is we're able to, for the first time, call and say, congratulations, you've been awarded a scholarship at GRCC. And hopes that maybe that phone call might, if they're kind of on the fence, maybe the phone call is something that'll help them make that decision sooner rather than later to come to GRCC. So that is what we're hoping to come up with through these scholarship recipient workshops. I'll update you later in the year, the next time I do an update, but we do award scholarships in the winter as well. So those scholarships, as long as everything is back to normal, we will go back to our in-person, face-to-face mandatory scholarship recipient workshops for those. I'm excited to announce our first ever virtual event with the foundation. We will be honoring 2 former employees from GRCC for their generosity and consecutive giving through the Armin Omedian Consecutive Giving Award. We will be honoring Jan and Jerry Benham, and they've been contributing to the foundation for 41 years consecutively. So it is quite a milestone and accomplishment, and we are hosting this virtual event on May 28th from 4 to 5 p.m. So if you are able to attend, you should have gotten the Evite. But if you don't find that in your email, you can just reach out to me and I can resend it to you, or you can go to the GRCC Foundation Facebook page and you can find the link there to RSVP. But should be a lot of fun. So we're looking.
Do I have to eat my own hors d'oeuvres, or I get like hors d'oeuvres sent to my house?
Well, you get your own hors d'oeuvres, but as part of the event, we will have a cocktail of choice that we'll send you a recipe for, as well as an hors d'oeuvre of choice. So we can all eat the same thing. You'll just have to make it yourself.
All right.
Okay, and then now a quick update on the sponsor a grad. So as of this morning, we have $3,535 raised in the last couple weeks since we started this program from 75 GRCC family members, which means that 101 grads will be sponsored for graduation as of today. So thank you very much to everyone who's contributed to that. We're very thankful for that. And we have a little ways to go. Last year, I believe it was a little 450 students that walked, that participated in commencement. So we will see what this virtual or whatever it's deemed happens on August 1st. We'll see what we have for a student count then, but so far so good. Lots of people are participating in this. And then finally, an update for you on the student emergency assistance program that we have here on campus. We have an impact report that I'll ask class to put up so that you can take a look at that. So as you know, COVID-19 has really exacerbated the food and emergency needs of our students. The impact report that you see here indicates that we've been able to accomplish through donations. So you'll see we have employees that are donating. GRCC Student Alliance did a tremendously awesome thing for their fellow students and contributed $35,500 to this fund. We've also been able to partner with United Way, and as well as Feeding America. We have 156 students that were supported to date through this fund, and we have weekly distribution for dates for food pantry. Actually, as I was coming down Lion Street today's one of those dates, so saw the smiling faces of some of our colleagues out there getting ready, loading groceries, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So 320 food bundles have distributed, and you'll see the Student Emergency Assistance Grant there. Those are funds that are available to students to help them with things like rent or a particular bill, consumer's energy bill or something like that, that they might need some assistance with. Transportation needs, things like that. So you'll see that there as well. These are two funds that we've had on campus for a while, but they have never been utilized the way that we have needed to utilize them since the beginning of this COVID-19 pandemic. And I'd like to say thank you very much to Lina Blair. Lina has really been the driving force around the things like the Feeding America, and we have some Costco donations coming in. We have Meijer donations coming in that we have not seen before at GRCC. And Lina has a group, her team that works with her, our colleagues that are handing out the food and things. The GRCC families really stepped up to help our students, and it is through this impact report, I hope you see that we have some really awesome family members here, and our community, it is amazing what they've stepped up to do for the students during this time.
So is it 35,000? That's individual GRCC students giving that money?
That's the GRCC Student Alliance.
Okay, the organization itself.
The organization itself, yes.
So at the bottom of that page, you had a different number. It's 5,000 something for GRCC. What was that?
That's a different fund. So there's the food pantry fund, and then there's the student emergency fund. The bottom was student emergency. So the most funds were given to the food pantry part.
Makes sense.
For that immediate impact. So that concludes my report. If anyone has any questions or.
Questions, anyone for Kathy?
I have a question about how are students hearing about this wonderful aid that Lina and everybody else is lining up there?
There are lots of messages that go out to students via our CRM. So students are getting emails, they're getting text messages. It's on all social media. So our communications department does a fabulous job with Facebook and Twitter and all those other, Instagram and all those other avenues so that students get that communication. So that is how we've been communicating that.
And most students are available, those methods reach them. Okay.
Yeah. Social media we find is the biggest way. The other group that we were able to positively impact through these food pantry is our families that are in our preschool program, because we did find that there were many of those families that were also having some food insecurity issues through this time. So we were able to, they have a Raider card just like our students do, and they participate in our program. So those individuals also were able to benefit, have been able to benefit through this program.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Comments?
Thank you for doing that. If you need any help packing the grocery bags, I'd be willing to help.
Okay, I'll make sure the right people know we have volunteers right here.
Yeah, please do.
Well, Kathy, we want to just say thanks to you and the work that you do. These are untroubled waters for everyone. And you and your role when you're out there selling the mission of this college in these turbulent times, we just appreciate the work that you're doing. And thank you so much on behalf of the college.
Thank you.
So with that, I guess we'll move on. I was gonna say you can leave, but I guess you can leave anyway. You just leave now when you're doing this virtually. You just kind of so you don't need permission to leave, I guess. So I'm going to go on with our agenda. We don't have a student report this evening. We do have a chairperson report, not a report. Just a couple of comments on a couple of matters we need to care for. The untimely passing of Trustee Bailey has left an unexpired term. And for those of you in our audience, just to remind you that the board is working at filling that unexpired term. And we will be interviewing candidates. The first half of the bunch will be interviewed on Wednesday of this week. And then the remainder will be interviewed on the Wednesday of the following week. And then when the board gathers at its June regular meeting, we will make a decision on filling that unexpired term. That unexpired term has also left a void on this around this board, as we don't have a vice chair person, and we feel some need to fill that role. The board has had conversations with Kathy Crosby about her willingness to do that. But before we move further with that, I wonder if there are other names around the board that anyone would like to suggest to fill the role of vice chair. Hearing none, I'll accept a motion that Kathy Crosby fill the role as vice chair.
So moved.
Thank
Accept.
you. I've heard support and that a move and a support. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kathy, for your willingness to do that. No one knows yet what that really means.
Good.
We'll wait to find out what that means. So all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Thank you, Kathy, for your willingness to do that.
Congratulations, Kathy.
Thank you. Thanks, Kenyatta.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to turn now it over to Bill, Dr. Pink, for the president's report.
Thank you, Chairperson Cucci, and I echo that congratulations and thank you to Trustee Crosby for taking on that role. Also, appreciative to Kathy Mullins. Dr. Mullins and her work in the foundation continues to be exemplary of one of, if not the best, and in my opinion, the best foundation at the community college level that you'll find anywhere. And to say for an institution to have a foundation that can truthfully brag the point that they give over $1 million in scholarship dollars away the last 3 years, as I can recall, is phenomenal at a community college level. And so big thanks to Dr. Mullins and her team. Just a few pieces in terms of update, a couple of things we've mentioned, and just in thinking about what the college has done here in the last 3 months, trustees, I'm proud to be part of this college because of how we've had so many people, faculty, staff, and students that have had to make adjustments, not of their own accord, but to adjust to this environment that we're in right now and the way they did, and to have finished out the winter semester and now getting into summer. I am proud of our campus, and as Lisa mentioned earlier, to also be able to have a summer session, that our first summer session and first one's on the way, second summer session starting later on the semester. We still have time to recruit for a second summer, and we're already have been impressed and surprised at how the enrollment has continued to come. We are, it doesn't surprise me, quite frankly, that we are now in eyeing fall enrollment. Those numbers, it's futile to look at those numbers so early right now, and especially futile given the fact of all of people just in their own personal lives, the uncertainty there. But I'm thrilled and thankful that we have folks in our enrollment management area and in our advisement and recruiting and counseling area that are keeping close contact and good work in this regard. Couple more things. As I've mentioned to you before, and I mentioned in my emails, we do have commencement scheduled for August 1st. And as we've told our students and our campus, that regardless of whether or not that commencement is a in-person on campus commencement or a virtual commencement, we will have commencement at Grand Rapids Community College August 1st. We're excited about that. We are making a commitment with the commencement committee that meets on a regular basis. The commitment is by June 30 that we will have a decision made as to whether or not it will be on campus or virtual. And so that's what we're working toward. Just looking at some of the indicators going on across the state in terms of how safety and precautions, and making sure if we can do it in person, that we can mitigate as many of those issues as possible. So, but rest assured, please keep that date square on your calendar of August 1st, as we will be having commencement that day. Many of you also, all of you know that the CARES Act funding that I've shared with you that has been in the news in various times, GRCC, the allocation that we were given by the federal government through that stimulus package, there's a $3.4 million figure that is earmarked towards student emergency funds. And so what our team has been doing is starting to work as far as what the guidelines that came down from the Department of Education, making sure we could reason through those and make sure as we give those dollars out that we are adhering to those guidelines. When we have put those guidelines, and many of those have to do with financial aid eligibility or just financial aid, filling out the FAFSA and different pieces of in regards to that, and some other requirements that were in place that we have that we identified. When we look at the number that are eligible, there's about 4,700 GRCC students eligible for, as we've deemed eligible for for those CARES Act dollars. It's a $500 allocation to those students. We've sent emails and text and contacted those students to say, hey, because of federal funding, here's what you're eligible for. We're now getting those responses back from students, and this week is what we've targeted to start in on getting those dollars sent out. It's emergency funds. It's to help our students in terms of those who have been impacted by and fit those criteria by this pandemic. And so those federal dollars are starting to flow out of the institution We will have some of those dollars set back for other students that may actually have some level of eligibility as well. But we are in that process of getting those dollars out the door to help our students, to try to help them out. And so that continues to happen, and we are happy to be able to get those dollars out the door to our students. And then the final thing I will let you know is about a couple of weeks ago, Kent County Health Department, along with the county and several other entities, held a meeting with many organizations in Kent County to start in on a program or plan of Kent County Back to Work Safely. And we are, GRCC, a part of that initiative, along with many other Kent County organizations. And what was interesting about that is, as they discussed, and I sat in on that meeting, as they discussed what that back to work piece will, that they were proposing that it looked like across the county. Some of those things that we've already have laid out to our campus in terms of what our back to work and our reopening will look like in another 2 weeks, when we start on more of a back to work, and actually even this week with some of our facilities team, back on campus, as well as our campus police force. Many of those things that they were looking at are already some of the guidelines that we had in place and we're putting in place for our own personal return. And so to be a part of and make sure that GRCC has a presence and a seat at that in that effort of Kent County Back to Work Safely was important to us, and GRCC being highly represented and part of that is only fitting, being of what we do in this county. So we keep plugging away at this, friends, and any questions on anything that I've spoken about or anything I haven't, please, you can send those to me, or I'm happy to take questions right now if you have any on what we've said.
Any questions for Dr. Pink at this point?
Bill, I have a question. I have a college student here at home.
Send them our way.
I'm working on that. It's been challenging, to say the least, to adjust to online format, because online is obviously helpful, works in several contexts, but not every context. Has there been any effort campus-wide, and I know this hit us very suddenly, the adjustment that our faculty and staff have made has been great. Has there been any adjustment on the front of grading campus-wide during the pandemic, and or adjustment made for students that may or may not have access, which we talked about a little bit with scholarship recipients?
Yeah, so one thing we did, Trustee Brunsma, back soon after we saw that we were going to be in for the rest of the semester, we sent out and gave our students options on what they wanted to do. So some students actually, one of those options was, if you were one of these students that you were on ground and your class got switched to online, and this just isn't the environment that you are comfortable in, or maybe you don't have the access, we gave them the opportunity to drop that class and take it again, either in the summer or fall or winter, without charge. And so we made that allowance for those students. Many of those, there were some students that took advantage of that, and some of them we've already heard from in terms of retaking that class this summer, or retaking it sometime this school year. That was one way. The other thing that we will, it's your question so timely from a standpoint of how we move forward. We just today in our leadership team, after one of our leadership team meetings just today, talking with Provost Knettel, and how we want to work together with our faculty and our students to, during this summertime, of those students that we know are looking at online classes, we want to provide even more of preparation for them so that they know what that looks like and what they're getting themselves into as far as from a student perspective. Try to be more informative in that regard of that process, but also making sure that we're taking care of our faculty to give more opportunities for here in this space while we've kind of been able to take a deep breath from what we just came out of the winter semester, to give our faculty more opportunities and more of that type of professional development opportunity to look at what that online learning looks like. What we have found is some of our students have been, are some of those who were switched over to online, and it fits in different different ways that some folks took it in terms of that switch. Some actually, after finishing that online class, actually are saying, well, you know what, that wasn't all that bad. Others, it just wasn't, it's just a level of discomfort. Some, there's definitely a connection issue. And quite frankly, that's something else that this pandemic has done for many of us. And when I say many of us in this regard, it's not just a Kent County or a Michigan issue. It's across our country. It's kind of exposed what connectivity truly looks like, where in some cases we thought broadband connectivity was one thing, when what we find is that it has that exposure of where some of our areas are that truly need a stronger broadband connection. So that's also levels of conversation we're having right now to see what we can do to help our students in terms of that connectivity. But you are right. What we did was try to give them other options. Even went to that option of a pass-fail was one of those options that they could have opted for in the winter semester if they so chose. We wanted to make sure students had some of those options at their disposal if indeed they were getting into something that they thought, you know what, I just can't do this.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anyone else? Thank you very much, Dr. Pink. Let's move on our agenda. I don't believe we have a faculty association update this afternoon. And communication to the board, I'm not aware of any. Cynthia, are you aware of any communication to the board?
No, none.
We have none. Okay, then I'll accept a motion to approve the consent agenda items that were in our packet.
So moved.
Thank you. Support. I did hear support for that. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion carries. I believe we have no purchase items over $100,000 to approve. I'll look because I think I'm batting about 50-50 on seeing the right ones in the agenda there. Okay, we have none to approve. That then brings us to our final open comment. Again, for those of you in our audience, if you have a comment that you want to share with us, you may use your chat function on your screen. Again, the same courtesies of identifying who you are and make your comments, limit your comments to 300 words. And again, because of the clumsiness of this, if your comment takes you longer to type than our meeting lasts, I'll promise you that all of those comments will get typed up and sent to each of us as board members. So it will not go to waste. With that, before we adjourn, I'm going to ask trustees if there are any other items that any of them have, and we'll just go right around the, I guess, square, we'll call it. I'll start with you, Kathy. Anything else from you?
Not at all. I appreciate the idea of another budget session. I will just say that. I think that's going to be helpful.
Thank you, Kathleen.
I was just wondering, are we going to keep monitoring reports, or will we need to be flexible on getting those since we're in the pandemic situation?
My understanding is we will keep getting monitoring reports.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think as we have those scheduled out, we should still, our folks still have those preparations, so we should be fine.
Great. Thank you.
Kenyatta, anything else?
Just that I appreciate everything the college is doing. You guys all know that, here at CE, we have 1,000 employees going through a lot during the pandemic. I can't imagine, multiply that by, 10, what you're dealing with, Dr. Pink, Lisa, and the team. So continue doing what you're doing. I've talked to students that really appreciate the connectivity they've had to the college in this period of time. And, sometimes we underappreciate the things that give people balance, to give them strength, to talk about the connectivity. And for a lot of people, college is it. Junior college, community college is that. And they're having a difficult time. I'm an introvert, so this is okay for me. All the extroverts out in the world are in a lot of pain, etc. And so thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate it. And sometimes you don't understand the impact you're having on people, especially young people at this time and day. Thanks.
Thanks, Kenyatta. Cheryl, anything?
Just want to commend Kathy Mullins and her team. It was a small part of calling students, and the monumental task of calling over 7,000 students alone. That kind of direct connection is invaluable. It's heartening and morale boosting, whether students are going to apply for fall or not. They will always remember the heartfelt outreach from the college to individual students.
Thank you. Cynthia, anything else?
Just to add to a couple of comments that were made, I really appreciate how everyone has stepped up and gone way beyond what their job description is to provide for the academic and physical needs for our students. And I too have been calling students, Kathy Novisky, connecting with her, and she's been giving me a list of students to call. And it's really been thrilling for me to actually have a conversation with them. These students were absolutely astounded that somebody from the college would call and find out how they're doing at this time. And I've had really wonderful conversations with those students. So everything that everybody's doing, we just can't thank you enough. And like I say, it's not part of your job description, but all of you are going far beyond what you've been asked to do. And we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks all. You all did me a favor because I actually did miss two purchases of over $100,000. If you have that agenda in front of you here, which I do, so here's where it shows up. After the financial statements, under purchases over $100,000 out of the general fund, it says there are no purchases in April of 2020. However, other special funds, there are a couple of them. There are two there. And I'm going to read those just to make sure that we have those in front of us. One is a request permission to issue purchase order to provide repairs to pedestrian bridges campus-wide. That is an expenditure of $432,277. And then just below that is a request permission to issue purchase order to provide PCs and monitors to replace end-of-life equipment. And that's a $204,000 expenditure. I don't have a page number on mine here, but if you're scrolling through, these are after Lisa's financial reports. I'm going to wait a minute for those of you who are looking for them.
Page 18. Page 18.
Page 18, thank you.
Yep. Page 18, if you have those numbers.
Got it?
Mhm.
So we do need a motion to approve those two items.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Is there support for that?
Second.
All right, I'm going to wait to make sure everyone sees it so we know what we're voting on. Everyone good?
Mhm.
Which ones are in particular disrepair of the bridges, pedestrian bridges?
We are working on all of them need varying levels of repair. The specifically, I think probably the most significant repair, if you will be the one going across from the Lion parking ramp into the field house. And you'll see, I believe the road is blocked off in preparation for that work now.
One of the nice things about getting that work done right now is still so thin downtown. It allows for better traction that way with fewer people downtown right now.
Other questions? All in favor of approving these two expenditures, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. That does conclude our meeting for the day, for the afternoon. We will see all of you trustees for interviews in 2 days, on Wednesday, and we look forward to that. So on that note, have a good evening. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Dave.
Good night.
That last email you sent me with all of that and all the org charts on it.